If you're a first-time home buyer, do you know the steps it takes to purchase a home? Do you even know what the process looks like to buy a house? Well, I'm Jason Polikoff, aka Polly the Realtor, and this is the Polly the Realtor YouTube channel, designed for people just like you who may not know a whole lot about the real estate world. And I'm here to offer these videos to give you some education so you feel more confident entering the real estate market. Well, let's go back to the question. Do you know the steps that it takes to purchase a house? If not, I've created this 11-step guide to walk you through what it may look like when you go to buy a house. Now, I should stop here and say that not every process is going to look exactly like this. But generally speaking, these are the steps that you will see when you go to buy a house. All right, let's start with number one. And that is to hire a real estate agent. Now, you might say to yourself, well, Jason, you're a real estate agent. That's why you're saying that. And true, but I've also created this video, which you can see up here, which talks about all the value a real estate agent brings through the home buying process. All right, so you've got yourself a real estate agent, and now it's time to go to step two. Step two is to get pre-approved for a loan. If you are going to borrow money to purchase this house, then you're going to want to get pre-approved. That gives you an idea of how much you can spend on a home. You see, banks, they run through all of your financial paperwork and they come up with a formula that gives you a number for the cost of a house that you're going to want to look at and helps narrow down the homes that we can start focusing on. All right, we've been pre-approved for a loan. Let's move on to step three, and that is, let's start researching. Let's go out there and look at some homes that might be of interest to you, right? So you'll go on Redfin and Zillow and Realtor, and I'll look all through my MLS, multiple listing service, and I'll send some emails to you that offer you some homes that you might be interested in. Once we've discovered a list of homes that you might want to look further into, we'll move on to step four, and that is, let's go look at the homes. What I'll do as your real estate agent is I'll set up some showings, some viewings where you can go and see the house and walk through it and see if this is the right home for you. We'll spend a day, maybe see about 4 or 5 homes or multiple days and look at a bunch of different properties and decide, okay, is this the right fit or not? If you find one that you think is the right one for you, we'll move on to step 5, and that is to make an offer on the house. That's where I come in and try to help you negotiate back and forth with the listing agent about what would be the right price to come to and conclusion to come to when purchasing this home. You see, you don't always have to you don't always have to make an offer on what the house is listed for. You can offer something lower in the hopes that maybe the seller will take it or meet you somewhere in the middle. My job is to help negotiate and get you the best possible deal. All right, so you made your offer, the seller sees it, and the seller says, okay, I can do that. Perfect. Now you're under contract. We have what we call, and this is step number 6, is an executed agreement of sale. That means you're under contract with the seller. The seller cannot offer the home to anybody else while you're under contract with him or her. So now that we're under contract, we can either decide to go ahead and just buy the house or do a little bit more research and investigating into the home before we purchase it. I personally recommend doing a little bit more research. And that leads us to step 7, and that is hire an inspector to inspect the house. See, inspectors come in and they run through the house with a fine-tooth comb. They look through every nook and cranny and figure out what needs repairs, what needs to be adjusted, if there are any safety issues, etc., etc. And they'll create a list and they'll give it to you to look at. Then you can go from there and decide, all right, this list doesn't seem that bad. Let's go on and move to the next step. Or you could do what I say would be the next step, which is step number 8, and that is offer a response to the inspection to the seller. And in that, you can actually say to the seller, hey, I had this house inspected by a professional inspector. They say X, Y, and Z is wrong with the home. I'm going to ask that you fix it before we finish this process. Well, the seller can come back and say no. The seller can say, I'll take care of some of it. The seller can say, okay, fine, I'll take care of it. every situation is different, and as your realtor, I will walk you through kind of what you should do depending upon the seller's response. But let's say the seller says, okay, I'll take care of those things. I want to make sure this home gets sold. That helps us move on to step number 9. And that is, you're going to want to get the house appraised. In fact, you have to get the house appraised if you borrow money from a bank to purchase the home. You see, the bank is not going to lend you any more money than the house is appraised for. Even though the seller lists the house for a certain price, it doesn't mean the house is worth that value. An appraiser is a professional who comes and looks at the home, looks at the market and what homes are going for in that area, and says, okay, this house was listed for $100,000. I actually think in looking at the other homes in the neighborhood, it's worth $110,000. And in that case, that's a good thing. The bank is free to lend you the money that you need to buy that house. In some cases, the lender or the appraiser might say the house is worth less. And if it's worth less than what you bought the house for or agreed to buy the house for, then we've got to talk about what your next steps are. And that's, again, where a realtor comes in and can walk you through what the next steps are in that process. But let's just say everything's good. House is appraised for more than what you offered, and you're ready to hit the second to last step, and that is to secure the financing. So your lender is going to see the appraisal. They're going to look at your paperwork. They're going to run some numbers. They're going to say, okay, everything looks good. Hopefully, everything looks good. And here is the financing that you'll need. Here is the money you'll need to purchase this home. Awesome. We've got that figured out. So we started from hire an agent, got all the way through to where we have secured money on the home. We know what's wrong with the home. We've got it fixed. This is the right house for us in the right area. All of that has happened. And now it's down to the final step, step 11, and that is closing the deal. And on that day, which is always a celebration, you're going to meet in a mutually agreed upon location, usually at a lender's office or at a title company's office or what have you. You're going to sit behind a big table and you're going to end up signing a lot of papers. All right, so bring a pen and have your wrists nice and loose before that day, because you're going to sign a lot of documents that basically say, this home was the seller's, is now yours. You're going to get the keys to your new home, and you have now purchased a new property, and it's always a big celebration on that day. All right, so that's it. That's the 11 steps, the 11-step process that you may see through the process. My job is to help you all the way through it, guide you through it. It's of course sometimes can be a little emotional, a little overwhelming, and I'm going to make sure that it's as smooth and easy as possible. That's my job. All right. Well, I'm Jason Polikoff, aka Polly the Realtor. My information, if you ever have any questions or just want to talk more about real estate, is in the description below. Feel free to reach out. This is Polly the Realtor YouTube channel. I ask that if you found this video interesting, please hit the like button below and subscribe to this video, or excuse me, to this channel. I think if you want to learn more about real estate, I think this can be a really valuable tool for you. All right, well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm always here to say happy house hunting, and good luck to you as you look for your first home.